So hey, how's everybody doing tonight? I'm a little late with my video today. For those of you who maybe haven't seen any of my videos, this is week number 4, and I have been doing them on Mondays and Wednesdays and Friday mornings, but I had to work this morning, be out of town, so I'm doing it tonight. And I don't usually wait to kind of build an audience because I know that people can watch and listen to this afterwards too. So I will say, for any of you who might be watching now or later, please share this video with people that you know need help with fear, anxiety, panic attacks, depression. Hey, Crystal and Christine and Debbie Hannon. That is what I've been talking about. This is, like I said, this is my 4th week now. And I'm talking about my journey, my own personal journey through all of these things: fear, anxiety, panic attacks, depression, and that I struggled with and suffered with for 25 years. And I'm not going to go into that really deeply tonight. You can go back and watch videos, watch the videos, but just very, very briefly, for me it started, actually I never knew a time without fear from little on, but my first panic attack, my first true panic attack was when I was 11 years old, and they continued until I was about my late 30s, for almost 25 years. But the great thing is that I have been free now for 20 years as well. So tonight I'm going to give kind of a sobering message, and one that I'm going to get real with you in it too. And it really touched me this last week when two seemingly celebrity people both took their own lives, right? Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain. Now I have to say, obviously I knew who Kate Spade was. I don't own anything Kate Spade, but I've always liked her stuff. I've always seen it and things, and so that was very shocking, very tragic. And then I did see on Facebook somebody posted about Anthony Bourdain, which I got to be honest with you, I don't know who he is. I had to look it up and see who he was. We don't have cable, and I really don't watch much TV, but from what I see, he was a very well-liked celebrity, I think chef, storyteller, travel enthusiast, or whatever. So you look at both of these people, right? And they were both famous. They both had money, enough money to, you would think, gosh, do something, right, with regard to how they were feeling. Kate Spade's husband said that she had been suffering from anxiety and depression for 5 years. Very, very much so. She was under treatment, I think is what he said. She was taking medication, things like that. Same, I think, kind of with Anthony Bourdain. He had kind of a history, a drug history and things, it said, but seemingly depressed, very alone, things like that. So both of these people had, like I said, number one, the money that they could have picked any treatment in the world, right? Could have paid for anything to get well. Obviously, money doesn't help that, right? They had what would seem to us like the world by the tail, right? Famous people, well-liked people, loved people, you walk around, you see Kate Spade bags all over the place. This other guy seemed, to be very well-liked with his TV shows and things like that. You can have everything. Obviously, you can have money, you can have fame, you can have accolades, you can have all of that and still be depressed and still be anxious and still be fearful, all of those things, right? Money doesn't ensure that happiness. Fame doesn't ensure that happiness. None of it does. But you know, this morning I was so sad as I was thinking about these two, and I really wanted to bring it into the message that I'm doing today. And I felt so sad. Like I was in tears this morning. You know, do I know these people? No, I don't know them personally. But not one of them, Kate Spade or Anthony Bourdain, had to die. It's so tragic. It is so absolutely tragic, you know, that this had to happen. And I'll tell you though, from my perspective, having gone through this, fear, anxiety, debilitating panic attacks, tormenting in my mind, I had done anything and everything, you name it, I did it. From medication to therapists to counselors, reading books, even ended up in a Christian psychiatric hospital for 3 weeks. I'll talk more about that at a different time. And so I get it. I totally understand. Panic attacks and thinking I'm going to die, thinking this is going to be the day that I get scraped off the floor, you know, it's, you know, so I had fears of everything, absolutely everything, including death. Okay. So with that being said, I would say often, I don't think I can live like this anymore. I don't think I cannot live like this any longer. But I was too afraid of death to take my own life. It used to scare me to think, am I going to snap one of these days and do it? Am I going to? So I get it. You know, I totally get it. You know, I had 4 kids at the time. That's one thing that kept me going. That's one thing that, but the despair, the hopelessness of when I was like in my early 30s, mid 30s, thinking into the future brought hopelessness to me. Like just hopelessness. Like, what do I have to look forward to? Like, what am I going to be like if this continues when I'm my age right now and I just turned 58? What is my life going to be like? And had it not been the fact that I was so fearful of death and dying at that time, I probably wouldn't be here either. So that gives you an idea of how bad it was for me as well. There was always, though, just this glimmer of hope that said, gosh, I'm going to get well. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to overcome this. There was just like this glimmer, even though I had at that point done anything and everything that I knew to do. There was something that I hadn't done yet. And that's what I'm going to lead up to. But if you're listening to this, if you're listening to me right now, and you know of somebody who needs to hear this and who needs to hear these videos, who needs to you know, we talk about it more now. I didn't talk about it a lot either. So I'll be honest with you, you know, when it kind of came out, and it came out in our small town when I went away to this Christian psychiatric hospital, you know, that's when people found out. Not that I was embarrassed, like, to tell people. And I always think that part of that was good, that I wasn't always talking about it. I wasn't talking about it, right? But people were shocked too. Like, Heidi? Seriously? You know? She's got fear, anxiety. I would have never known. Like, I would have never, ever known. I would have never known. Maybe there were a couple people that knew, you know? And again, it wasn't that I was necessarily embarrassed. I'm just more of a kind of a closed person in that way. So, yeah, we don't know all the time. But there's nothing to be ashamed about where that's concerned. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. And I'm telling you, and I believe this from the bottom of my heart, we serve a God who is so much bigger, so much bigger than depression, so much bigger than anxiety, so much bigger than fear and panic attacks. And you don't have to suffer with those. You don't have to medicate them for life. You don't have to resign yourself to saying, this is how I have to live. I just have to plod through life with it. You know, that's probably what they thought. Anthony and Kate Spade, and you know, I can't take it anymore, is what they probably said. I can't live like this anymore. I can't do it anymore. I get it. I get it. I was there. I was there too, right? But they lost their hope. They lost their hope for a bright future. They lost their hope. They had had enough. They didn't see a glimmer of hope anymore for recovery or for the future or for getting better. And with God, there is so much hope. There is so much hope. There's hope for recovery. There's hope for a future. The Bible tells us that the thief comes to steal and to kill and to destroy. You know, Kate Spade's husband said to, you know, this like wasn't characteristic. There were inner demons that, you know, and a part of it that doesn't come from God. Depression, any of those things. No, it comes from the enemy of your soul, who could care less about you, who doesn't want you here, who wants you to live in torment, who wants you to live in depression and hopelessness. And that is not the way God wants you to live. That is not the way God wants you to live. And I'm here to tell you and to give you so much hope to say that is not how you have to live. I have lived anxiety-free and all that for 20 years. For 20 years. And it was bad. It was really, really bad. So not only can I say I know it, I get how you feel, I understand the torment, I understand the hopelessness, I understand all that, I get it. You can take, what do I want to say? You can be encouraged, but you can be then again encouraged that I have broke free, that I've broke free. And many others have as well. So yeah, I just, like I said, this just hit me, you know, with these people this week going, this did not have to happen. Any death, any life that is taken because of depression and anxiety attack and any of that, it's tragic and it's senseless and it doesn't have to happen. And God is allowing me to take what was so bad in my life, and healing has occurred, and it's amazing. And now He's allowing me to share it with others. And I feel, oh my goodness, so much urgency to do that. So much urgency to do that, because there's so many people that are suffering and struggling and think that there is no hope. And oh my goodness, is there ever hope? Hang on just one second. Suzanne, I'm trying to read your 2 years ago. God. Oh, that's sad. Yeah. It doesn't have to be that way, though. It doesn't have to be that way. No, there's no situation is ever hopeless. No situation is ever without hope. And it's always really encouraging. It was for me. I remember the first time I found out somebody else resonated with what I said. Have you ever had this? Have you ever felt so tormented in your mind? Have you ever wondered, panic attacks? And I remember, I don't remember who it was, but that said, yes. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. There's actually somebody who feels like I do, because I felt so alone at that time. And that's what it said about Anthony Bourdain too. He felt so alone and isolated. Even though, man, you can go online and you can Google and you can see that there is millions of people struggling with this, but it still causes you to feel isolated and alone. Well, you're not. You are not. I am here to tell you, you are not alone. You are not without hope. So please, please continue to listen to these videos. You know, I don't have the answers because I'm so great. You know, that I don't have the answers because I've got so much wisdom. No, the answers came to me because we serve a God who has that much wisdom and knows what we need and doesn't want us struggling and suffering with this stuff. And that is the truth. So I will just encourage you, please, again, share this with people that you know and that you love, that are struggling and that are suffering. Go back and you can listen 3 weeks back to my other videos that I have done as well. And I'm going to continue to come on here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Leave comments if you want, questions if you want, but it's going to be, that's my deal, man. That is my deal, is to come forward and to help as many people as possible to live a life of freedom, and that's what you've been designed to live. So anyways, thank you so much for listening, and I'll be back on Wednesday.